Hello and welcome to Method 8's course on how to make money off of poetry. I am Brian West and I'm the president and CEO here at Method 8, and I'm in the air chair today to give you some common questions that may come from every poet, which is how to make money off of your intellectual thoughts when it comes to poetry. It's a very simple process, but the first thing a poet has to remember is that publishing poetry is no different from publishing a book. Actually, publishing poetry may be a little bit simpler and maybe a little bit more easy to publish because of the fact that poetry comes in short forms and it does not require that much editing because the words come straight from the poet, and technically the poet does not want anything changed because those words are supposed to be an interpretation of the poet's thoughts. So that's just a little bit of common sense. So let's get into a few tips and a few techniques that you can use as a poet on how to develop some revenue from your poetry. One step is greeting cards. Greeting cards are very inspirational poems that people purchase at a certain time of year to give to people. So those are some things that you have to remember. And greeting cards come in the same form as a book, except for it's just one single sheet of paper given with some illustration that people use to give to people that have some sentimental value, and they get to read the poem and it's a part of that person. So that's something to think about when you're publishing some poems, how to put it on greeting cards. Greeting cards comes with the same ISBN and UPC code just like a book in book format, except for it's just that one piece of thought put on paper. So just think about that too before you think about publishing a book. Maybe you may want to itemize your poems into one single thought, which is in a greeting card. Another way is picture frames. People always use and put poems on picture frames to give to people as gifts, and you may see these things in stores. You may have seen these ideas come to light already, but you may not be thinking in that type of consumer and business aspect when it comes to being an author of poetry. So think about that too. When you put your poems on picture frames, you can do the same exact thing that you do with the greeting cards, following putting in the picture frame some illustrations of some things that relate to the poem, and this could draw attention to people who are into what the poem has to say and what the picture frame presents. So those are two techniques that you can use. Another technique that is very valuable are rugs. People put poems on rugs all the time. Sayings, welcome, dear to you, my friend, have a good day, things like that in a poetry settings in your style of the poet, meaning sometimes you can just take parts of your poem and itemize them on certain material, but direct people to the book, meaning the book of poetry which you have. If you itemize just a few words on this type of material, which is our rugs, you can use blankets, you can use t-shirts, and you can use calendars as well. Now you can use all these things to put your poems on. Calendars are very, very inspirational. Calendars come out every year and people purchase them by the bulk at the beginning of the year, and people look for calendars that have sentimental value. So think about that too when you become that successful poet and you want to put your material on something that means something to the consumer. Another thing that you could think about, as I stated, was t-shirts. People use t-shirts. Now, some poets come up with just a few good words that represent the poem and just put them on the t-shirt. Like you could put crucify just on a t-shirt, and you can follow it by a poem, or you can follow it by the stanzas or the direct line to the verses in your book to where the rest of the poem can be read. One other thing you can do with your poems is you can sell your poems in combo packages, meaning like you could direct them to, if you sell a book, you can also put a combo package in that book where the consumer can get a free t-shirt or a calendar that can also increase your product line when you become a poet, and these are just things that you may be able to do to increase your standings and your branding as a poet. One more last step that you can take to make money off of your poems is music. That is actually how most poetry got started, and how they actually started to make money off of their poetry by putting music behind them. There are a lot of artists and a lot of musicians who need material, and you may be that person that they need to help write the material that they need to make that song to get to the consumer or get to the person that loves that artist, and you may be the person to boost that person's career just by your words that you put on paper. So these are some things to think about when you become a poet and you decide that you not only want to increase your portfolio, or but just increase your status as a poet, but you want to go broader and go beyond the call of expectations as a poet. So those are some things to think about. I want to thank you so much for tuning into our channel. Please subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to go to METHOD the number 8 INC.com. That's method8inc.com to sponsor our channel. Any sponsorship over $10 gets you a free Method 8 book or a free Method 8 movie that's produced here at Method 8. I want to thank you so much for tuning into our channel. And yes, again, I did read from a script. Some stuff I cheated a little bit. Well, thank you so much for tuning into our channel. I am going to edit some more videos. Have a good day.